Good morning. Good morning. Namaste, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my Tarot Advent calendar. And today is the 5th day of December 2025. If you are new to this channel, welcome and thank you for joining in this 24-day adventure. And what I am doing a little bit differently this year is sharing with you some things you can do with the cards besides read them. I know a lot of us have lots of extra cards. We have decks that we're not using. And so today in particular, last night, I decided to start a new project, and I am cutting up some decks. I went through I have quite a few of these plastic shape tracing things, and I was going to make Christmas ornaments, and I was going to cut out tree shapes and make a few Christmas cards for some of my tarot friends, and I may still do that. But I just started thinking about the sheer volume of cards that I have, and I wanted to make something that I could use as yet another reading device. So many of you may use charms. I have a pot of charms that I put different things into that I have on my table that I use sometimes for reading, adding to a reading, and other times hello Donna, and other times, and welcome to Clevis as well, and other times I use them simply as markers. And this just felt, my daughter was watching me last night after work as I was just sitting there cutting up cards. Mother, what are you doing? Well, I'm just really kind of having fun. And I have a couple of decks a couple that I trimmed that I don't like trimmed. I have decks where I have lost a card. And, you know, sometimes you can get a replacement card and the publisher will send it to you for free. It's no big deal. But other times, in the case of this deck, which I'm going to cut up, this version of the deck is a different paper stock and different finish. So I'm going to cut this one up. It's also missing a card. So I think it's going to go really nicely with the Herb Crafter Tarot discs that I'm making here. And I just simply traced them with a pen, sat under a bright light, and cut out these circles. And I started thinking, what a wonderful collection of images. And on some of the cards, I cut out 2 circles, and you can see they're not perfect. Doesn't matter to me. They're slightly different sizes. Some of them are a little bit smaller. And on some cards, I was able to cut out 2 circles, and others I just cut out 1. And what I am going to do is create a box from a couple of decks from a couple of decks, and have these as 2 things. One, I am going to simply muck them about, and I'm going to use them for journal prompts, and I may paste them into my journal and simply write about them. I think that divination, connecting with spirit, can happen in any number of ways, and these are well-used, beloved decks with which I am familiar, and obviously because I have more than one copy of them, and I want to use them. I don't want them just sitting unused. And I'm also thinking too, I have a whole stack of extra cards. So not, occasionally a deck will come with a duplicate card. Sometimes you will have substitute cards for certain decks. And I'm also thinking of cutting up some of those as well, too. And I know that might seem sacrilegious, but am I really? I don't think I'm going to sell those decks in the future. I've sort of made my decision about what alternate cards I am and am not using. And I just think it would be really fun to have this box of little discs that I can add to a reading or use as journal prompts. So I'm kind of excited about this little project, and I'll probably show you how it's going over this 4 weeks that we're together. So yeah, so that's something I'm kind of excited about, and of course this would make lovely collage work as well too, if I was doing that. Good morning, Mary Beth, and Donna said something about 6 a.m. 6 a.m. Oh, I'm not going back to bed. I'm doing this before I go to work. So I leave for work at, I start my car at 7. Yeah, that's right. Tarot bits, and tarot bits. So this is, it makes me smile, makes me happy. I love working with the cards in all kinds of ways, and I just knew yesterday that this felt like a good thing. All right. Tarot tip for today is, sometimes we put decks away because they don't seem to fit the season. And I think that's a really funny thing that we do. I have my winter decks, I have my summer decks, yada, yada, yada. And as I was cutting up this second copy of Herb Crafter last night, I'm thinking, why do I not have this on my table right now? I love this deck so much. So just know that you can use any deck at any time of year. There's no rules about using decks for seasons or whatever. And I absolutely love this deck and find the readings so deep, and they really touch me at many, many different levels. I think so too, Donna, and I think that I could have them in a bowl or sort of a low flat box. They could be upside down, and I could have a querent just draw one just as a talking point, like I do with other bits and bobs I have on my table. Yeah. All right. Tarot wheels in the eve of the wheel of fortune here. Oh, I love that. You are also clever. All right. So, for today's inspiration, let's turn to the plants and this powerful deck of healing. This deck that reminds us how important the plants are. This is not just a deck of plants. This is a deck of mentoring. It's a deck of remembering, and one that has so many symbols on each of the cards. There's always something that draws my attention, and it reminds me sort of how to get back to the heart of an archetype, or I don't necessarily call that minors archetypes, but a deeper message, perhaps. This is the 5th day of December 2025, and the moon is waning. The moon is in the end of its Gemini position for now. So you might want to think about the 10 of Swords, which is where it would be if you're looking at it sort of decanically. Again, wheel, that's very fitting, isn't it? Surrender. And as the moon wanes, and I mentioned this yesterday, let's all sort of begin this process of integration and focusing on the exhale breath as we take time to be a little quieter. As we assign time to be as we assign a quiet time in our day through the busyness of this season. Do you know, this is one of the most beautiful mothers of fire. It reminds me that, this is not necessarily about climbing mountains or being vivacious or, I don't know, even like commanding a fire ceremony. This mother of fire is working with time, working with books that have been passed down through generations and generations. They, there's a meditativeness in removing time from the stock. It's quite a fiddly process. Those of you that have tried to rush this during Thanksgiving or other times when you use this herb in great quantities. And I like the intention of this Mother of Fire, and this is about connecting to the element. Being, there's a softness here, right? There's a softness in their connection with the element. And I like this card showing up here. You would expect, okay, I don't really expect fiery cards as the moon is waning because we're not really being called into action. But what softer ways can we connect with the element of fire and not completely lose ourselves in our receptiveness, if that makes sense to anybody but me? Sometimes I say things that... And here is another example. So we have another court card, right? This is the Curandera of Fire. 2 fiery court cards. And this is not about, hopping on your mountain bike and going for a ride or whatever it is you do to burn off steam. This is about deep, purposeful connection with elements. It's about remembering why you started this work. And I think I can extend that message into whatever it is you are doing. I think of that, like I said, I can repeat myself a lot. Suit of Fire is about one's dharma, one's life path, one's work, one's great work. And so let's take a moment to honor each of our great works. Your purpose. In a slower, more connected way. What if you go to work or when you work at home, what if you were to put a candle and some herbs and have a bit of a moment to just honor your purpose today? Then the Justice card. This has a very, I'm going to personalize this. I'm going to give a sort of a general connection to the first two cards, and then I'm going to personalize it for me, because I think sometimes when we share our own stories, others can connect in different ways. But in general, this idea of allowing karma, justice, adjustment, acknowledging it in different ways. Well, I'm going to use the word adjustment. So there are these adjustments in culture, adjustments in the way that society perceives things that can be very difficult for some people. And I'm thinking about how this plant is perceived quite differently in contemporary culture. Not in all communities. And another thing that comes to mind here is how the Madre of fire, how the Curandera of fire works side by side with other healers, with other prominent people in the community to bring about harmony at all levels. Justice as one is a powerful thing. My fingers are kind of tingling here. And I want to say that there is work. So I used the word work earlier. There's work to do in bringing about adjustment. So without even going into the energy of the particular plant on this card, can you connect this idea of a small action, a small something that you can do on this day that will help to adjust the harmonies in your environment? Maybe it's a fairness. Maybe you can use the word justice. And maybe this adjustment is about something a little bit different. And I also, when I think about this card, I think about everything Libra. And there's a beauty in this energy. And I think about Queen of Swords, and I think about Mel Maline's figure skating card, and how there's a dedication to justice, a dedication and a purpose to justice. And so while, in a way, these two cards are working in the background, maybe there is another message here to say never doubt the power of your background work to affect others. Never doubt the power of your background work, behind the scenes work. The ripple effect is unseen and yet endless. And I think that message is more powerful than my personal story. So I'm going to leave it at that. But just for fun, this is not the whole deck. I only cut up a few cards last night, but one of them fell out. So I'm going to just see what it is. It's a little bit of lavender. It's sweet. I think this is going to be fun. Oh my goodness. Okay, so here we go. So this is the time card as well. And I want to add the word healing to that. I want to add the word healing. I went to a tiny home the other day, and I carried my massage table across a dirt path into this tiny home, and the couple had made space for me, and I found a way to sort of set it up diagonally in the space that they had created. And she was about to give birth. Maybe she's had her baby by now, and it was a really interesting experience for me. I don't know what there was something really deep about it. I did an hour Reiki treatment on both partners, and I think I need to repeat this message in different ways, again and again. The little things we do for our health and our healing. And there's also something about working with herbs and your fingertips, and the medicine of those herbs entering your bloodstream or through your nose. Those little details, the little details, the little things that we do that nobody ever sees, they matter. They really matter. And you may never know how they are going to help or heal or affect those people that are around you. We speak so often at work about justice. It's even baked into our mission, achieving justice and healing for our patients. Thyme is extremely antibiotic and antiviral. This essential oil is very powerful, but must be used in dilution. Yeah. And you can see that there's jars, right? There's jars here that she's putting the thyme into oil. And certainly the Madre of fire and the Curandera of fire would be fully aware of that. So thank you very much for joining me this morning, and maybe share in the comments, if you're coming back to comment, one little thing that maybe not even share. I want you to just, in your heart of hearts, know that those little things that you do in the background are very important. And thank you all for your great work. Have a lovely rest of your day. Namaste.